Chapter 10. I ran as straight and fast as the world would allow, putting as many miles between me and Billy as I could. I crossed roads, skirted houses and people and cars. With never a thought of hunger or weariness, I ran for my life. If I began to flag, Tiffany's words urged me on, giving me the strength of two. Run for both of us, she'd said. I had no idea where I was until the country began to look familiar. When I came to the field of weeds, I slowed down. It was only then that I realized how dreadfully thirsty I was and how tired. I made my way across the field the way I'd followed Snatch and Hollerin', stopping to drink from a puddle. How great it would be, I thought, if they were back from California. But what then? Did I really want to be a thief again? Was that all life had in store for me? Run for both of us wasn't all Tiffany had said. She had told me to find the sheep. My sheep. Well, Billy had me under lock and key. I couldn't. While I was under Tiffany's spell, I wouldn't. Now I wouldn't know if I had it in me anymore. Trotting along deep in thought, I didn't notice the boy on the tracks because I was feeling so sorry for myself. I was starting to believe I'd never find the sheep. Never again. Never regain my purpose in life. Hard as it was to own up to such shameful thoughts, I was about to give in. I was about to settle for being, well, a dog. Your everyday fetch the slippers, get the paper dog. It was painful to settle for less than I was worth, but I wasn't getting any younger. Life on the road can wear a soul to ribbons. That's the truth. And then I heard the train whistle, loud and shrill. It woke me right up. The boy was walking on the tracks, balancing himself with his arms out, playing dare you to hit me or something. Foolish thing to do with something hundreds of times your size. He wore dirty blue jeans, and his hair stuck out from his head like weeds. A mutt of a kid. That whistle again, this time real impatient, and the boy jumped off. I was right behind him, got there so fast it surprised me, but I was ready. The boy looked down on the ground, stuck his hands in his pockets, searching for something. Then he saw it, whatever it was, on the tracks and made a dive for it. Thing is, so did I. I hit the boy from behind like he was a 400-pound sheep. He went flying right off the bank, me tumbling behind as the train rushed by. All cinders and metal and scream. I got off and shook the dirt off. But the boy didn't. He lay there on the hard-packed dirt so still I figured I'd killed him, blood trickling from a cut on his chin. I licked his face all over. It needed a good washing. And at last his eyes opened. You could see he didn't know what hit him. Hi, dog, he said. The kid got up and brushed himself off. Whoa, he said, what happened? Away down the tracks went that train, no more than a black speck. He watched it disappear, still trying to figure out what had happened to him, and then I guess he did. Whoa, he said again, shaking his head. You saved my life. Then his eyes got wider. Oh, no, he cried. My stopwatch! He ran back to the tracks, knelt down, and started sifting through the stones and stuff. There wasn't much of that watch left to save, but he put a couple of the bigger pieces in his pocket. It was my dad's, he said, his eyes getting puffy and red. My dad was a famous runner. Well, so was mine. Still, I could tell it meant a lot to him that his dad was famous, and I felt bad about his watch. His dad would sure be mad if he knew what really happened, how the kid had almost lost his life over a dumb watch. At the same time, I was feeling pretty good about what I'd done. The old herding habits were still with me. I trotted on, leaving the kid behind. He'd have to face the music on his own. I was hungry. Hey, dog, wait up! He hurried to catch me. Stuffing his hands into his pockets, he began walking alongside. You could tell he needed the company, and I really didn't mind. Who do you belong to, anyway? He said. He knelt down, and I let him check my harness for a tag. Are you lost? I'll bet you're lost, huh, boy? He roughed me up in a good way, scratching behind my ears, patting me hard all over. You saved my life. You should get a reward. A nice hunk of meat was what I was thinking, but this kid didn't look that like he had money for a hot dog. I followed him away from the tracks toward the town. I gotta hang out till school's over, the kid said, or I'm in real trouble. Come on, I'll show you where you can get free food. We took the back streets, a good idea for both of us. We were on the lam, as they say. No way was I ever going to spend another night in a cage, but that meant keeping my eyes open not only for Billy, but for that truck from the pound. The kid was being careful, too. Too careful, if you know what I mean. This kid has no home, was what I was thinking. But I was wrong. That's where I live, over there. Like he'd read my mind, he pointed to a chain-link fence and a long yellow brick building across the scruffy lawn. It's the Good Shepherd Home for Boys, he said. I stopped dead in my tracks. The kid lived with a shepherd? From where we were standing, I couldn't see the sheep. Grazing in a nearby field, probably. I couldn't believe my good fortune. Come on, boy, the kid said. They'll see me. We crossed the street, went a couple of blocks, then scooted across a parking lot to the back of a pizza parlor. The kid looked all around, then began rooting through a trash can, and I hung back. The smells inside that can, whew! It was our lucky day, he said, pulling out a pizza box. Pepperoni. Wrong order, I'll bet. You didn't think dogs like pepperoni pizza, did you? Trouble is the salt. Makes a fella thirsty as all get out. But food is food. We finished off that pizza and headed away from the main street. I marked some spots along the way, all the while looking for water. But it was a good many blocks before I saw a water fountain in a park. I ran right over, jumped up, and turned it on. Took a long, slow drink. Was that ever satisfying? The kids couldn't believe his eyes. Wow, are you a trick dog or what? How did you do that? I hate being underestimated. Call it pride. But what's so hard about turning on a water fountain? The kid hadn't seen the half of it, and I wasn't about to show him either. I'd had my fill of tricks. You need a name, the kid said. It was that time after a meal when a fella needs a nap, but the kid was too old for a nap. Well, too old to think he needed one. After having run half the morning, I had only one thing in mind, a good snooze. But I trotted along beside him as if we had been pals for years. When it came time to meet the Good Shepherd, I was going to be ready. Well, you can guess what I was thinking, who I was thinking about. I could almost smell the coffee on him, taste his big rough hand. Now, I knew the Good Shepherd couldn't be Bob. Still, it was hard not to mush things all up in my mind, and when we finally turned back the way we came, I almost believe I'd see Bob come strolling out of the yellow brick building. Old Dex and Dad at his side. Dad would come running over. We'd sniff each other on the nose to tail until we got our fill. We missed you, son, Dad would say, and then Bob would. Meanwhile, the kid was busy naming me. I'd gotten used to it. Blackie, Shep, Spot, and the worst one ever, Sparky. Names are for people's convenience, so they can call us when they get lost. Dogs don't need names. I know, the kid said after some real deep thought. Jack. Jack. Can't say I wasn't surprised. Jack. Not your usual dog name. I rolled it around in my brain. Jack. It had a good ring to it. Nothing fancy. Salt of the earth kind of name. I gave the kid a woof of approval, and he caught right on. I figured him for one of those genius types, quick to pick things up, but he belonged in school. We passed a red brick one with a playground, some swings, and a big field. He didn't act real interested, just stuck his head way down into the collar of his jacket, and we moved right on. The Good Shepherd Home for Boys didn't invite you right in. The windows were small and pinched looking, like little mean eyes, and the front door scowled, telling you that whatever you did was wrong. The kid stopped with his hand on his big brass knob. You gotta wait out here, Jack, he said. Don't worry, I'll find you a place to sleep and some food. This is okay with me, as I was going to do some sniffing around anyway. The place didn't smell right, and it sure didn't smell like sheep. If the Good Shepherd kept his sheep somewhere else, I'd have to find them. That could take some time. The kid knelt down and hugged me and put his whole heart into it. Don't go away, okay, Jack? We're buddies now, right? Just then the door opened, and a big, beefy kid came pushing out. Hey, retardo, you cut school again, didn't ya? You're in trouble now. He gave the kid a push on the shoulder, knocking him back. The kid looked down at his feet, letting the bigger boy pass. Retardo was a nice kid. I felt bad for him. Didn't he know you couldn't give in to a bully like that? There I was, starting to worry about a human when all I wanted was my freedom and some sheep. I waited until the kid went inside and then took off. There wasn't much to see. Yellow bricks, chain link fence all around the back, a playground, no swings. I sniffed everything, case in the joint, as Snatch used to say. All the usual smells, dog, dust, bugs, weed, rubber, a penny, gum, cigarette butts, sadness. Two boys came out of the building. They leaned against the bricks with their hands in their pockets, looking down at their feet. No retardo. It was dinner time, or close to it, and I was getting mighty hungry. I kept thinking about an Italian restaurant that had the best sausage and a cook who liked dogs. But retardo, what was I going to do about him? What if he was getting whipped, and here I was dreaming about sausage? Well, it wasn't my responsibility. Like the goat man used to say, you have to take care of yourself first. Then you can lend a hand to others. But he never said anything about lending a paw. Funny how life is. If the goat man had stuck around, my life would have been a whole lot easier. I'd have learned everything there is to know. As it turned out, I learned the hard way, which isn't always so bad, the hard way being a whole lot better than learning nothing at all.